Howdy, howdy, all. Welcome on into Goose Talks Wrestling. Man, I'm still like amped up, speechless, excited, sad, but in a good way. what a what a WrestleMania, eh? Yeah. Look, I wanted to record this while it was still fresh in my mind, but also when I was still like energetic and so emotional about it. Feel as though that'd just be the best way to do it. I was actually gonna split up night one review, then night two review, but I thought it'd be much better if I do it all together. You get one good length of an episode, and then I'm not like kind of burning myself out by having to do more, double the editing, double the writing, double the recording, etc., etc. But before I get into the ratings, I'm going to start with the main event of night two. That just seems like it's just the best thing to talk about. Just absolutely chaotic, and I can't wait to talk about it in depth. But yeah, like I said, Goose Talks Wrestling. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, following, whatever if you're watching this, listening to this. I'm trying to make this more available on other podcasting platforms. Currently available on Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, and Audible. I am working on other ones. They're a bit more confusing, a bit harder, and I'm having one keeps crashing on me, which is iHeartRadio. Hopefully, in the next month or two, I'll be available on all platforms, but hopefully it's enough for you guys to be able to watch slash listen. And and please comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube, or comment on my post on Facebook on what was your favourite night of the match, what was the biggest disappointment, biggest surprise, was this your favourite, your least favourite WrestleMania of all time? I'd love to hear from you guys. Just love talking about wrestling, especially this time of the year, and it's kind of like I've already started the lull now. It's like, oh wow, like WrestleMania's already over for another year. It feels like we've been building up for this for so long, and then it just goes bang and it's over. We still have Raw after Mania tomorrow. Well, tomorrow for Australian time. Probably exactly almost 24 hours away. I'll be able to watch it when I finish work. But last year, that was a bit disappointing. Uh, the Raw after Mania, not a lot happened. Nothing was really progressed. We got no surprises or returns or new signings or anything like that. But I think tomorrow we should get that. I'm hoping. Hopefully some NXT call ups now, and just some different storylines and different championships going to be involved now, and I'll get to that. But yeah, jump into the main event, the WWE Universal Championship. I don't know. It's fucking confusing. WWE Championship. We'll go with. All right. Was Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns in a Bloodline Rules match. Now, the stipulation was the result of last night's main event, which was the tag team of The Rock and Roman beating Cody and Seth, which was a great match, but I'll get to that a bit later when I go to night one. I mean, this was just crazy. The booking of this was great. We all know it was going to be a fuckfest. Like I said in my preview podcast last week, that we knew that there was going to be shenanigans. Everyone was calling this, the Avengers Part 2. Endgame and Infinity War, that's what these 2 years of WrestleMania have been. Portal's going to open, who we're going to get. And we got some surprises, like one massive, massive surprise, one kind of disappointment in terms of who rocked up at the end. But in terms of the match, great match. Usual Roman match. Bit of bullshit stalling at the start, but not as long as their match last year in Roman's pretty much majority of his title defenses have been 5 to 10 minutes of build up, and then it gets into the action. I think the LA Knight one wasn't as big because for obvious reasons. But yeah, this one, the stalling was there, the build up was there, but they kind of went gung ho from the start. Both men looked great. Roman looks incredible shape, by the way. And I won't say rumors or anything, but there's been reports that Roman's leukemia has come back. He kind of addressed it at the press conference yesterday, and he kind of addressed it and just said, I've got to take one pill every day to kind of keep the cancer at bay. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's kind of come back full force or anything like that, but hopefully if he's having any troubles, he takes some well-deserved fucking time off and rests up, and hopefully he, comes back. And if he can't come back to wrestling, then I hope he just enjoys his family life, because we all know he loves being a family man. That's why he's got the part-time contract. And if you think part-timers should or shouldn't be champions, that's a conversation for a different time. But I feel as though this match was just great. Cody just looks $1,000,000 in his entrance attire with, the American flag kind of color scheme for his jacket and his belt, and it just, yeah, he honestly does look $1,000,000, and we haven't had someone that's able to be the full face of the company and rock up every week since John Cena 10 years ago, even maybe a little bit longer than 10 years ago, because 2014 was when Cena kind of, towards the end of 14, I think, because Punk had left at the start of 14. Not that I think he was the face of the company and could have been, but don't come at me, it's just the truth. But we'll talk about Punk later, because he's involved in a pretty big storyline. But yeah, look, Cody's just the guy. I mean, like, he, in-ring, great, promo's great, on the mic, great, just everything about him. Like, his in-ring's just awesome. He's really come a long way since the arsehole, kind of young, green, dashing Cody Rhodes that I grew up watching in the Ruthless Aggression around 06, 07, when he teamed with hardcore Bob Holly. What a glow up, and just someone that, I don't want to use the term glow up, because he's worked so hard. He started his own fucking company. After a few years, he come back to his home. He was always going to come back to WWE, right? It's Dusty Rhodes' son. He was always going to come back eventually, probably a bit earlier than I originally predicted. I didn't think he was going to come back, start to middle of 22. I honestly thought that was really early. I would have predicted he would have come back to WWE around about this time, to be honest. But here we are. He's the face of the company. He's the guy. He's probably the biggest wrestler in wrestling right now. I mean, what can you argue? I mean, Rhea Ripley is by far the biggest female wrestler. And yeah, he's the guy. But get back in the match. Just some great spots, a lot of near falls, a lot of finishes. But we expected that, especially from a Roman Reigns match. It wasn't in a bad way, a bit like the Seth and Drew match. But like I said, we'll get back to that. But this worked. Build up was great. I thought we got enough of the just one-on-one match before we got all the fucking shenanigans that happened. I thought that was really, really good. I haven't actually looked at the overall length of this match, but including absolutely everything, I reckon it'd have to be around half an hour, because last night's tag team main event was about 44 minutes of just match time, not entrances match time. So this would have to be around half an hour mark, if not a bit more, give or take, 5 minutes. I mean, they both looked great. They, went to the crowd a bit. Roman's just fantastic at interacting with the crowd, a bit of dick to the crowd, getting that more heat. Like, he's just a heat magnet in terms of getting heat in a match. And, which doesn't happen very rarely, but sometimes his matches might lack a bit of heat. The care factor might be a bit low. And he's just great at getting the boos on him, which then makes you cheer for his opponent. So he's very, very good. Look, I don't think Roman's the best in ring. I don't think he's best on promos. I don't think he's the best in getting heat. But, I mean, he's very great in all those categories. So you have to give him credit where it's due, I think. He's never been one of my favorites, and he probably never will be. But for what he's done and what him and the WWE team have done of building him up all these years, and they were waiting. They were waiting for the right person to dethrone Roman. We all knew that when he was going on this absolute record-breaking title run. When he eclipsed the 700-day mark for a world champion, that's levels that not even John Cena got to. I mean, then again, he was winning, losing. So that's why his title reigns are up to 16. Same as Randy, I think, is on 13, 14. They were winning and losing. Whereas Roman just obviously constantly won. He's won by shenanigans. And I think they found the right guy with Cody, like I said. And I would really like to see what the world would have looked like if Cody never come back, never become the superstar he is. Who would have dethroned Roman, and would it have been as big or bigger? I doubt it would have been bigger, but it's a big question. Would the whole storyline of the bloodline play out the same? And instead of SummerSlam last year, WrestleMania this year, Jay's the one to do it. That would have been a big moment. It would have been a big thing. It wouldn't have been as big as Cody winning, but who knows? Different timeline, I guess, but talking about Avengers. But yeah, then we got the shenanigans. Surprisingly, I thought Solo was going to be the first one to come in and interfere, but it kind of makes sense he wasn't after, obviously, in hindsight, when I saw everything that happened. Jimmy comes in, Jay's music hits, massive fucking pop, people going crazy. They know this is the start of the Portals opening. I thought it was going to happen in ring, but Jimmy runs down, meets Jay halfway up the ramp, they kind of brawl a little bit, and then Jay spears Jimmy off the stage onto tables, which was a wicked spot. That's a big bump. Like, that's a long height to go down into only like one layer of table. There was 2 tables there. They weren't stacked up. It was boom, straight through the table onto the ground. So it would have been cushioning there as well, I know, but that's still a big bump to take. Like, massive props to those two. Then more match happened, and then we got Solo, and then this is when I was like, okay, we've got Jay. I knew that was going to happen, and I was positive we weren't getting Sammy and KO. I thought that it were too separated from this storyline now. It wouldn't have really made much sense. And I know that legends that come out are obviously separated as well, but that's kind of a different story because Sammy and KO are still full-time, and they're embroiled in their own storylines. And obviously KO only wrestled a couple of matches earlier. So I'm like, who's coming out? Like, who's the one? And Cena music hits. I'm like, of course, that makes sense. Solo was the one. I mean, he didn't squash Cena because the match went for about 16 minutes, but the last 4 minutes of their match, he kind of just beat him up with spikes and pinned him. So that was good, storytelling there with Cena and Solo. Cena then FUs him through the announce table. And then I kind of forgot that The Rock wasn't already out there. So when his music hits and the look on John Cena's face, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is long-term story. This is over 10 years storytelling between Cena and Rock. So that was awesome. Comes out, Cena does the You Can't See Me. Rock does the rock bottom. And then, I'm not going to say, this is a bit where I was a little bit disappointed. I was hoping this entire time I was going to hear glass shatter. It couldn't have been a more perfect setup because WrestleMania 17, a lot of people regard as the greatest WrestleMania of all time. It's probably in my top 3. And the main event was Rock and Stone Cold. And they had, I think, 3 WrestleMania main events. And it's one of the biggest feuds, if not the biggest feud in WWE history. So I was like, glass shatter. And then you hear the dong. I was like, oh. I'm like, this isn't as big as Stone Cold in my opinion, but this is big. Because Taker and Rock have history, of course, like in the Attitude Era, both like top guys at the time, had matches, championship matches, etc. And there was also something I didn't click until after the match when I realised it's exactly 10 years when Brock beat Taker's WrestleMania record, beat the streak, and who was Brock Lesnar's right-hand man? It was Paul Heyman. He was right there with the exact same facial expression when The Rock was looking at Taker in the eyes in the middle of the ring. Taker gives him a choke slam. I'm like, oh, okay. Now that kind of afterwards, I kind of realized I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's really good kind of little nice little snippet of past history there between Paul Heyman and Taker. I thought that was really good. I'm still really disappointed we didn't get Stone Cold. We obviously got the Shield entrance from Seth, which I thought was weird at the time. I'm like, okay, he's dressed up in Shield uniform. He's got his hair like he had back when he portrayed Dean and Roman, and then he just gets hit with a chair by Roman. I'm like, what was the point? And then I thought afterwards, I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, Seth had said many times, I will be your shield, Cody. In this alone, I'll be your shield. 2 meanings. Obviously, physically, he'll be a shield, but him entering, because he did it before when him and Roman had their title match at Royal Rumble, 2 years ago, with the whole mind games thing of the shield. And Roman's looking who he hits, and who's he hit. Perfect mirror image of him hitting Seth in the back of the chair, just like Seth did to him, 10 years ago? 10, 11 years ago? 10 years ago, I think. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, Seth knew that was going to get to Roman and he was going to, mentally fuck him over and he was going to be physically a shield for Cody. And then that's when Cody gets the upper hand. So that was cool. Took me a little while to realise why Seth was doing that, why Seth was involved in this whole situation, but that was a nice little way to end it. But, yeah, I mean, it was a fuck fest. It was big shenanigans. We all knew it was going to happen. And, yeah, the pop for Cena was incredible. Like, all these entrances are ones I'm going to have in my rotation of. Like, I think every wrestling fan's like this, or at least the majority of them are. You go through a phase where you YouTube and you just like to hear the biggest crowd pops of all time. Well, all of these entrances are going to be in like the top 10 of all time now, which is crazy from one match. Like, that's just awesome. It met the expectations. The Portals opening, Cena, Taker, Jay, The Rock, Seth involved in there as well. So we weren't disappointed. I think if nothing against these two guys, but if it was Sammy and KO instead, would have hit a bit flat because we all were expecting big names, and we got Cena. A lot of people expected Cena because he's been embroiled in this bloodline story for coming up 3 years now. We knew And yeah, I mean, in terms of grading this match, I mean, it's clearly an A plus. In my opinion, just the match itself, all the shenanigans, and also the outcome is one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. That might be recency biased, but I'll touch back on this at the end of the year when I rate all the WWE and AEW pay-per-views / PLEs. I don't think my mind's going to change on the grade and my love for this match. Right person won. Cody wins. They did the great job of selling multiple times where Cody tries to do the triple crossroads, couldn't think of the name there, and he's only ever done the two, then been interfered in. When he finally hit the third, you knew that was a moment. 1, 2, 3, Cody's your fucking champion and the new face of WWE. So excited, so happy for him. He's a great guy. He fucking deserves it. Just genuinely just an awesome guy. We had Cena as the face of company. Like, he broke the record for granting all those make-a-wishes. Awesome with fans. You know, a lot of wrestling fans I've spoken to that have met Cena just say nothing but nice things. Same as Cody. Awesome face of company. Like, you couldn't pick anyone better. So I'm excited for the new era. I'm kind of, in a good way, I'm kind of like worried about what happens now that Cody's kind of finished his story. But I bet there's more to happen. Him and Roman, their story's not done by any means. You're not just going to beat one of the longest championship runs of all time and then the story be finished. There's going to be more happening. It won't happen for a while because I think we also have the Rock and Roman happening as well. But I think we're going to get some Cody and Rock, maybe Seth involved. That'll happen first. Because from what I gather, Rock's going to be involved in a fair bit this year. At least little chunks here and there. But A+, one of the best ever WrestleMania main events of all time. In terms of storytelling, in-ring, fucking everything. So, awesome work. And now we're going to revert back all the way to the opening match of night one. I think now I've kind of tackled the big thing that a lot of people might just want to hear me talk about. So if you want to switch off and not watch / listen to the rest of it, I don't blame you. That's fine. That's why I did, obviously, the big one first. Just get it out of the way so people can just listen to it. And then if you don't want to listen to the rest, that's fine. I do not blame you at all. But now we've reverted back to the opening match of night one, which was Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch in the Women's World Championship match. Obviously, Becky and Rhea build-up wasn't the best, but it was better than the build-up of Charlotte and Rhea last year. But unfortunately, Charlotte and Rhea was a better in-ring match than what Rhea versus Becky was. Don't get me wrong, great match, awesome. I actually missed parts of this, unfortunately, because I had to drop my daughter off, but I did then jump back last night and watch it, so I could obviously grade it with seeing 100% and not just bullshitting it like other people do. But yeah, look, the finish was good. It's kind of, the finish she had done before. She done a finisher into the buckle, and then she did the finisher again, and then pinned her, the Riptide. Becky also got the near finisher off the top rope, which has won a lot of big matches that way, a lot of big championship matches as well. And then the reversal from Rhea, then Rhea does her double finish and pins her. I did expect this to happen. I can't remember if I actually tipped Rhea in my prediction video or not. I remember being 50-50 on this, but I don't mind this. Rhea's in, rare air in terms of being so over and being loved, even though she's a heel. Even though she's kind of going to the anti-hero tween a bit, but she's still kind of leaning a bit more to the heel side. We didn't get the double turn that a lot of people were predicting, that Rhea's going to go straight and just being a babyface because she's that over, and Becky's going to revert to heel. I'm glad we kind of didn't get that. Now, I'm assuming we'll get Liv versus Rhea at some point. Will we get Liv and Becky first? Kind of like because Liv's kind of acting like an anti-hero at the moment. She's not full heel, but she's definitely leaning towards the tweener part. So we could get Becky versus Liv first. But the question is, like, who is Rhea's next opponent now? And the draft, I'm assuming, isn't happening until mid-year. So I think we'll eventually get Bianca versus Rhea, or maybe might be a bit too early for Jade versus Rhea. That might be a next year post-Mania thing. But the match itself, yeah, good, like awesome. Crowd were into it. It was a good opening match. One thing I would say about these two nights is they mapped out and scheduled all the right matches, pretty much in the perfect order, in my opinion, because that's one of the biggest things they've gotten wrong in the past, of having a massive match in the middle. Everyone's amped up, and then it's a match no one cares about next, and then it's hard to get everyone back up for the main event. You got to wave it through. Got to have them. But the opening match is just as important as the main event, because you want to get people fucking amped up, build them ready. Which I think they failed on last year. I think Cena in Theory was the opening for one, and then the other one was Brock versus Omos. Perfect examples of no one gave a shit about either of those matches. Even though we all loved Cena, we knew it wasn't going to be a great match because it was booked poorly. But they did awesome with the opening of both these nights, in my opinion. Rhea versus Becky, I'll give a B+. I think I gave Charlotte versus Rhea an A last year. I think that might have been the storytelling and the build-up let that grade down a bit because you have to take that into account, but B+ for this for sure. And I don't mind Becky losing because she won the Elimination Chamber. I prefer if one of the number one contenders loses that it be the Chamber person because I think the Royal Rumble needs to be protected a bit more. I think the winners have lost too many times now, but that changed this year. So that's good. The tag team ladder match, I mean, it's good to have one of these matches back in the fold. We haven't had one of these in a long, long time, I think pre-COVID, in just a big multi-man ladder match. This was great. There wasn't like groundbreaking, mind-blowingly amazing spots. Like I didn't think we were going to get many like that, sorry. Because Ricochet, people like that, they weren't in the match, but there was good enough people that I thought did a really, really good job. Yeah, I mean, I like that they're splitting up the belts as well. We have the SmackDown belts, which were eventually won by Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And then we have the Awesome Truth winning the Raw tag, which was the right call. I was hoping the New Catch Republic were going to win the SmackDown titles because there was only two SmackDown teams. So it was kind of 50-50 who was going to win those ones. Unless I also predicted maybe DIY wins and then comes over to SmackDown maybe because they're getting a bit over now. But yeah, those were your winners. I think solely the reason why Grayson and Theory won is down the line they're going to split them up, have a feud between the two. They're going to trial Austin Theory as a babyface. I don't know. I think if you're going to do it, that's the right call. You can't have Grayson as a babyface. He's too good of a heel. Way better heel than what Theory is. So why not trial him as a babyface? I don't know. The dude works hard. He's big. He's got a great physique. His mic skills and promo skills are good. He's just not interesting, and that's character work. That comes down to him, but also booking and writing as well. So hopefully that improves. There's not heaps to talk about this match. It's not one I really remember heaps, so I think if I'll rewatch it, I'd be able to pick out a bit more. But one of my favourite moments was R-Truth getting the hot tag in a ladder match where there is no tags. Just awesome. Like, no pun intended, but just awesome work like from Miz and Truth. Not only Truth getting the crowd pumped up for the hot tag, but also Miz selling it like he was going for a hot tag, which is great, really fun, entertaining. I laughed my ass off at a few things that Truth did. And he went for a pin as well, which I thought was great. He did his John Cena moves, which I thought was just fucking so funny, so awesome. I think everyone did an awesome job in this match. Everyone had their spots. Everyone looked good. Shout out to the referee. I can't remember her name, but I did notice at one point, but it's not what I thought that she was doing. So there was some shenanigans with the ladder. Damien's going to climb up the ladder to get the Raw tag, and the female referee is yelling at Damien. You can hear her through the camera. She's like, Damien. And he's not paying attention. He's still climbing. And she smacks him on the foot to get the attention. He looks back and gives her a look pretty much like, go away, like, fuck off. Like that, not saying that that's what he said and being rude to her, but it was kind of like, leave me alone. What are you doing? What are you talking about? And the ladder was buckling. And I thought there was one of his buckles on his boot come loose. And she just pushed it back in to stop that potentially cutting and causing really bad injury. But no, she was trying to get his attention that the ladder was buckling. And Miz was climbing up, and I think the spot was meant to be high because Damien went to climb further, and Miz kind of like signaled, no, like just do it here. The move didn't come off because the ladder did buckle, and luckily Miz fell on his back, just a normal bump, and Damien kind of landed fine. Could have been bad, but I just want to give a shout out to the referee because she was trying to stop that. She noticed it from the get-go, and also shout out to Miz. He's not much older than Damien, but a bit more of a veteran in terms of WWE in-ring, for sure. Well over 10 years now, he's been a vet. And yeah, massive shout out to him for signaling to Damien to just do it halfway up the ladder because any further could have ended a lot badder, sorry. But yeah, I think definitely Awesome Truth winning. A lot of people are saying, now that R-Truth's got his WrestleMania moment, they can lose it at Raw after Mania. I don't hope that. I hope they have at least a run until Backlash. It's only 4 weeks away. Have a run till then. Maybe 1 or 2 title defenses in there, then they lose it to whoever. And then now with Damian Priest winning the World Heavyweight title, I don't think the Judgment Day is going to break up like I originally thought. I thought they were going to break up within 2 weeks of post-Mania, but I don't see that happening now. So that could possibly, it might be Dom and Lord Farquaad might go for the titles instead, and then that's when Truth can beat them because that kind of won't hurt Priest or Balor losing. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the titles. I think I'm really happy that they're split up now. Much better for business. We've got all these tag teams now. That's an excuse to maybe call up 1 or 2 NXT tag teams as well. So I think much better. But yeah, I'll give this a B. It was really, really fun. Although there are not heaps of spots I remember off the top of my head. It's because there's a lot of other things I do remember from the show. Big 2 nights, so... But it was really fun. There was great spots, I think. Yeah, everyone looked good. There wasn't a lot of botches or anything. Yeah, everyone looked really capable. I think New Catch Republic were probably the MVPs, to be honest. And just some veteran moves from The Miz and also R-Truth. Like, you could already see he was pretty much going to grab the ladder whilst the ladder bullshit was happening with The Miz and Damien. So shout out to him. Apologies for my dog barking in the background. The way I'm recording, so I can't just pause and start like I usually do because I'm recording video. So I apologize for giving my dog Toby. He says hello. Say hello back in the comments. But yeah, B, I think is really solid. It was an awesome ladder match. Great tag team. For all these people involved in this match, it still looked really fluid. So yeah, B. Head over to Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Dominic and Santos Escobar. Obviously, this was meant to be Dragon Lee, but he was beat up backstage on SmackDown, then was replaced by Andrade when he turned on Dom and Santos. 1, I feel sorry for Dragon Lee, but 2, I feel sorry more for Carlito. I'm sorry. This should have been Carlito's spot, really. If they wanted to pump someone up and do a nice little surprise, get him beaten up a week or 2 ago, say he's out for injury, announce Dragon Lee is the tag team partner, a new member of LWO, and then the same thing happens, and Carlito comes out, gets that pop of being a return. Could have happened on the night of WrestleMania. They could have teased who's his secret partner, blah, 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 and it's Carlito. I mean, they haven't really done anything since he come back, and he's been signed since Backlash in Puerto Rico, so coming up to 12 months now. I feel sorry for him, but in saying that, I'm glad Andrade is getting a bit more action now. He made his return at Royal Rumble. It's been a bit lackluster, nothing to do with him. That's booking because I haven't used him. So hopefully... I don't mind Andrade as a babyface. I think he's one of those people where he could work either way, whereas Santos only works a babyface. As a heel. He didn't work as a babyface. They trialed it. That's fine. He's an awesome heel with Legado del Fantasma. Trying to spit that out really quick. So, yeah, I think some right decisions were made with Santos there. The match, look, it was okay. Had some good spots. The crowd were kind of into it because they hate Dom and they were booing him, and there was some really good teamwork from Bray and Andrade. I think that's what brings this grading up a little bit. They looked great together. Ray got the pin. I don't think Ray kind of needs the pin to win. I think it should have been Andrade on Dom, but it doesn't really matter. They won in the end. Andrade got a WrestleMania win, so I'm happy. Santos, again, kind of gets booed up and then loses and gets booed up and loses again. Hopefully he gets a bit more of a run as a heel now with his faction. I think they're really cool. But I'll sit at a C for this. It wasn't super long. I think it was sitting between 11 to 12. It's not one I'll remember, but it wasn't terrible and it didn't bring the rest of the card down. So, yeah, it was a C, a solid C. Now, on to Jay versus Jimmy. And I've stated before on the podcast and on the channel that Jay should have been involved with the Bloodline storyline over Seth. I think that makes a lot more sense, but it kind of works with Seth and injury and losing the title later on the next night. But Jay vs. Jimmy was a story that we all knew was going to happen. It was always going to culminate at WrestleMania because that's a dream match they both wanted, was to fight each other at WrestleMania. They've kind of done everything they can in the tag team division. They're probably the greatest tag team of all time, on par with probably a few others, but definitely up there. Just the build-up, Jimmy interfered with the SummerSlam match and a few things happened there. Then Jay went to Raw, then nothing happened. The Royal Rumble, they didn't even eliminate each other. And then Jimmy interfered in the Gunther match when Jay almost won the IC title. Just the build-up was very shit for a tag team and also brothers, only the third real brothers in history that have fought each other at WrestleMania. And I like that Michael Cole put emphasis on that. When he was announcing the match in the pre-match, he said, this is only the third time that real brothers have fought each other at WrestleMania. Matt and Jeff Hardy, and obviously Bret and Owen Hart, and now the Usos. Because obviously we've had the Brothers of Destruction and Edge and Christian, and they're not real brothers. We all know that now. But yeah, look, the build up to this wasn't great. I didn't really care. I would have preferred Jay, like I said, to honestly be in the main event scene. The match, it wasn't good in terms of storytelling and in-ring. It just wasn't great, I'm afraid. Just not interesting. So many super kicks. I think I don't know how true this is, but someone wrote on Twitter, and I think a later saw it on Facebook, that it broke the record for the amount of super kicks in one match. That I do actually believe it's real or not. It just wasn't super exciting. We got one near finish with Jimmy almost winning, and then Jay gets the win, which you all knew Jay was going to win. They weren't going to give Jimmy the win. He's lost too much, and Jay's the biggest star, and he's the babyface. So it made sense. There's really not a lot to say about this other than just disappointment, I thought. Okay, the build-up's been crap, but maybe in-ring will be good. Maybe we'll get a 15-minute barn burner, but we just got super kicks in the end. So D-, I have to give this. Definitely the worst match over 2 nights, without a doubt in my mind. Just not good. Then we had Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control. This was a match I was excited for, mainly because all the Damage Control people were getting the WrestleMania match, and also Jade Cargill getting her WrestleMania debut. Couldn't even spit that out. Only her second, pay-per-view appearance, first Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So what a build-up she's had. Makes her debut at the Rumble and then follows up with her proper match debut at WrestleMania. And she's yet to have a single debut. So when will that happen? SummerSlam? I don't know. Trifecta, why not? But the entrance was really cool. They leaned into the X-Men theme for sure in terms of what they're all wearing, because obviously Jade kind of leans into the Storm character from X-Men, which I think is really cool. All 3 of them looked $1 million. Bianca just looks great, as always. Naomi looks smaller compared to the other 2 behemoths, but she, looked really good as well. And Jade just looks $1 million. Like she'll fucking be fighting for a title at WrestleMania next year, surely. But and then we had Damage Control with a cool entrance as well. Great to see Dakota Kai back wrestling and all that since her bad injury last year. Out for like 10 months or something, I think. The match was good for a 3-person tag. Some great spots. They built up the Jade tag really well, I thought, but she was kind of in this match longer than I thought. I thought they were going to build up to a really long, hot tag and then get her in for a minute, hit some massive moves, and that'd be it. But hey, she got the pin, which I expected that she would. Bianca keeps her WrestleMania streak at 4-0, I think it sits at now. 4-0, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to continue that. She's booked like 07 Cena, so that's going to continue. Unfortunately, Damage Control get the loss again, and I'm pretty sure Kairi Sane ate the pin again, which sucks. So hopefully they hold on to the tag team belts at least for a little while to give them something at least. Not heaps to say about this match. It looked good. Like, there wasn't... I don't think I can think of one major botch or anything like that, or it wasn't really slow. It was pretty quick. They had Naomi beaten up to kind of pump up the Bianca hot tag. But I'll give it a C+. I thought it was really good. It did its job. Everyone looked good. Even the members of Damage Control looked good in loss. So they did a good job there. Dakota looks great. I think the way she carries herself in her aura and stuff of being a good heel. I'm glad they kept her as a heel and didn't actually keep her as a real babyface with the Bayley storyline. So I thought they looked great. C+ is really, really good for this. I think for a 6-person tag was, really, really good. And then we have Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship match. This is one of the ones I was most excited for just because I knew it was going to deliver on all fronts in terms of storyline and in-ring. And so it's pretty much Sami and Gunther had kind of like a hot match there for a bit, and then Gunther kind of 80% of it was just beating Sami up, but Sami would not go down. He just would not be pinned. He was kicking out at 2.99 the last 3 or 4 pins, and Gunther still in character, and I like that they've kept his character of he respects his opponent, but he's still very arrogant. Like he knows how good he is, and he kept looking over to excuse me, Sammy's wife, giving her looks and saying, "Look, I'm beating up your husband." Blah blah blah. Like your kid's not here. Then we see Sammy like kind of have a fit on the ground, and he gets up and he getting amped up. He kind of hulks up, like Hulk Hogan-esque, really. And then had some great haluva kick moments, and then he gets the pin, and I just love this match. I mean, I'm not a type of person that reviews a match play by play, like the guys on Wrestle Talk do, because they're fucking very good at doing that. They jot everything down, they remember everything, they know all the moves. I'm not like that. My good friend Brad, he's very much the move guy. I'm more so probably the storytelling of a match. Not saying that he's not into that, but we would work really well if we were on a podcast together because he knows all the moves, he knows all that type. He's very good with theme music as well. But I'm more the story guy, and that's why I think we would work well together. But anyway, Sammy vs. Gunther had, there wasn't like groundbreaking, amazing spots or anything like that, but there were some great spots, some good bumps. Both guys looked really good. It was a great storytelling match they were telling the story of pretty much Rocky 2. Sammy got the win and ends one of the most historic title reigns of the past 10 years. If it wasn't for Roman, this would be the biggest reign of the past 10 years. And he actually ended on 666 days, which I didn't realize that's pretty crazy. 666. Too bad he's not like a demon or satanic character. That would have been good. But look, this has to sit in an A for me. This was one of the best IC title matches I've seen in a long time. I say it's on par with the Triple Threat last year for different reasons. This had way more story involved. So glad Sammy's won. Gunther, I assume, is going to take some time off and he's going to be thrown into the world title scene very soon, I assume. Then we went to the main event of night one, which was Roman and Rock versus Cody and Seth to decide the stipulation for the main event of the following night. This was a long match, man. This ended like 44 minutes. We had the stalling at the start that I spoke about earlier. A lot of bullshit to begin the match. It's a Roman match. Like I said, that's what we expect. We had a lot of shenanigans in the crowd. So Rock and Seth were fighting in the crowd, and then on the ramp was Cody and Roman. So it was good little storytelling there as well, because obviously we know Cody and Roman, but then also Rock and Seth have had their one-on-one issues as well. So that was good storytelling there. I thought The Rock looked good. I mean, he took some good bumps. He was talking to Mama Rhodes and telling the ref as well, which I think it was a good, we knew there was going to be shenanigans in this tag match, but it wasn't like a hardcore match or anything where anything goes. But the ref goes to count them out, and The Rock says, "Don't you fuck with me. I'm your boss. I'll fire you. If you start counting again, you're fired." And the ref's like, "Shit." So that kind of was good storytelling and kind of just a good enough explanation as to why some shenanigans would happen later on the match with The Rock pulling the referee out and stopping pinfalls and stuff like that. I thought that was good enough because The Rock is on the board of TKO, which is a company that owns UFC and WWE. So that was good enough explanation for me. I don't mind it. The Rock took a decent bump through the announce table, which was good. Everyone's worries were, okay, how's The Rock going to go? He's 51, 52, got some ring rust, really. Hasn't been, 10 years since he had a proper match. Excuse me. But I thought he looked good. Everyone's like, oh, no, he might gas out, blah, blah, blah. They protected him. That's why they did a tag match, of course. I think it's a much better outcome than their original plan of Rock vs. Roman for the main event of night 2. So glad we didn't get that. Fucking Cody crybabies, I fucking love you. There's just some slow parts, but it was that thing where it was like 15, 20 minutes of nothing made the next 10, 15 minutes even bigger. So I don't mind it. Typical Roman match storytelling, so it's what you expect. Roman accidentally speared The Rock because Seth kind of did like a bullet-saving save on Cody and pushed him out the way, and Rock got speared by Roman, and fucking Rock, with the way he sold it to, was like he'd been shot, which I thought was great. Probably possibly selling it so hard for when they do have a match in the future that it's going to look devastating for when Roman probably does pick Rock, I would say. And I thought, oh, maybe is that going to be some disconnect here? Like, is this when they turn on each other? But we didn't end up getting that. I think that was only to kind of set up the pin where Roman pretty much had Cody beat. He could have pinned him, but he looks to the Rock and Rock's like letting over, like, hurry up. Like, obviously you're tagging me in. And Roman kind of looks at him like, oh, yeah, no, yep, sorry. Like, he's pretty much like, oh, I'm sorry for spearing you before. Like, you're the real boss. Like, tagged him in. The Rock does rock bottom, does his people's elbow, and then pins him. It's now Bloodline rules for the next night, which I've already spoken about. But yeah, this match, look, it did what it needed to do. It's going to go down as probably one of the, not best, but biggest WrestleMania main events because of just who was in it and what it led to happening the next night in terms of storyline and setting certain things up. I thought I did a really good job. Yeah, I had this at A minus. Just because it was really long. 44 minutes is a really long time, especially for a tag match. But like I said, the last 10, 15 minutes were great. Everyone looked good. Seth proved he deserved to be there with the big boys. So good work to him. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about this match. Just because it was so long. But A minus. I mean, yeah, it'll go down as one of the biggest. So you kind of have to rate it like that. Then the opening of the next night, we had Drew versus Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship, and we had CM Punk on commentary. I don't know if there's been, even including the Bloodline, because that was a pivot, obviously, with the main event with The Rock and Roman, but in terms of storytelling and plot and all that, with Drew McIntyre, it's the best in WWE. Of him turning heel, he's a massive hypocrite, telling Seth to not be focused on the Bloodline, he's got to focus on him because he'll beat him for the title, but yet this entire feud since he won the Chamber is he's been focused on Punk more than Seth anyway. And that just plays in the storyline so well because the entire time we know we're going to get a Drew versus Punk feud post Mania and when Punk heals up, which I think he'll be cleared by Payback, but Backlash, sorry, but don't quote me. But yeah, just awesome booking. Everyone wanted Drew to win. The match itself wasn't great. I won't lie. It was just a shit ton of finishes from both. Heaps of near falls. I think it was just too many finishes for my liking. Just because it makes their finishes look a bit weak. Even though they're both, like, they're two strong dudes. Too many finishes. A bit like the Rock versus Cena matches, all those years ago. Yeah, both dudes looked great. Punk on commentary was really funny. He did a really good job at selling certain things and kind of continuing storylines. I thought he did a really good job. Yeah, Drew, he doesn't get a dirty win, but he gets a questionable win, gets 2 Claymore kicks, pins Seth because Seth injured his knee in the match before. I forgot to mention that The Rock and Roman injured his knee. So that affected it because Drew was attacking it and focusing on it. This match only went for 10 minutes, but was kind of understood that for storytelling sense that made sense because Seth was banged up and Drew was just capitalizing on that. That's also his character as well. Like he's capitalizing on these things that he wouldn't have when he was a babyface, 4 or 6 months ago. Excuse me. So that made sense to me. Drew gets the win, and then of course, instead of just celebrating his win, he focuses on Punk on commentary. He does the fuck you like crotch to Punk's face, and Punk snaps sus, beat him up. Whose music plays? Damian fucking Priest music. I completely forgot about a cash-in, and I'd said in my preview that a cash-in was most likely going to happen, not on Cody, because that, like, the fans would riot and burn the stadium down. But I thought it was going to happen. I thought maybe, will Damian cash in on Sammy? But it made more sense this way now. He cashes in. Punk's got a big smile on his face when Damian runs down. He pins Drew, wins the fucking world title on the ramp. Crowd's going crazy because they love cash-ins. It was an awesome moment. It's going to be remembered now. It's not quite to the level of the Heist of the Century with Seth Rollins 10 years ago, but it's going to go down as a big, big moment. Drew's in the ring like, oh, man, I fucked up. So questions are like, what happens here? Like, because Seth is entitled to a rematch. Drew's entitled to a rematch. Damian's the champion. Obviously, CM Punk's embroiled in the storyline now. So are we going to get a fatal 4-way at Backlash, the next pay-per-view? I think that'd be really good, really interesting. You have Drew and Damian both heels. You have Seth and Punk, and that just gives Seth, a few weeks off. And even if he's a last-minute entry where it's been built up as a triple threat for Backlash, and then his music plays like, hey, look, I'm invoking my rematch right now. It's a fatal 4-way. Excuse me. That was kind of like coughing a burp. I apologize for that. Bloody hell. Um, yeah, I think that'd be a good setup. This is one of the ones where a storyline will continue from WrestleMania and it's fine. Whereas the other ones like LWO, Dom and Ray, like that'll kind of cool off for a bit. Rhea versus Becky will probably cool off for a bit. All these other ones will cool off, but this will stay the same. Look, I'll probably go with a C plus on this. I think the whole story around Drew and Punk and the way that it finished brings the grade up. I thought it was really good, but the match itself, just too many finishes. I understand what they were doing and why they were doing it. It just didn't hit home for me, I'm afraid. But C plus, I think, is a good grade for this match. Then we have my boy Bobby Lashley, part of the Pride, versus Final Testament in a Philadelphia street fight. Now, this didn't really meet my expectations. I thought they were going to be fighting out towards the back and maybe in the car park a bit, but it wasn't. They obviously weren't allotted a lot of time because it went for 8.5 minutes. So, but I was surprised here. We got Snoop Dogg on commentary, and then we got the return of fucking Bubba Ray Dudley as the guest referee. Two awesome surprises. I know where they did it. They were obviously worried if this match was getting hit because no one really cares about this feud. Final Testament aren't getting over. Everyone still likes the Street Profits, but the Pride's only working because Bobby Lashley's one of those people who's always going to be at least a little bit over with the crowd just because of who he is and what he's done. He's very likable. So that was really good to see Bubba Ray Dudley back. He got his moment in Philly, obviously where ECW was based. So that was a really cool moment. He put his glasses on and they got the tables and they did the what bit. It was really cool. It was a big body, it was a big shenanigan and schmoz fest, but it was a street fight. A lot of tables, kendo sticks and chairs. Kind of all we got for a street fight. Was a bit disappointing in the sense of a street fight. You'd expect it to be either in a car park or a parking lot, or they go out throughout the stadium and then they end up coming back to the ring. But like I said, not a lot of time was allotted to be able to do that. Or they didn't even go out into the crowd. It was really just at ring and ringside. They used 3 weapons throughout the entire match. It's hard to say who was MVP of this match. AOP weren't really focused on. They got like fuck all. They did their finisher once and went to do it twice, and Bobby kind of, which is a cool moment. It wasn't really sold as good as I'd hoped, but Bobby kind of stops them, like stopping 2 boulders and pushes them away. That was really cool. Bobby was definitely, he got given the big spots for this for sure. He was definitely the star. Karrion got some good spots in as well, but Bobby was clearly the top guy of this match. They clearly gave him all the good spots, rightfully so. He's getting another WrestleMania moment. I don't mind it. He's my number one wrestler, so I'm not going to fucking complain. But the match, look, the build-up was okay. Like they spent a fair chunk of months building this up, like since before the Royal Rumble. So they knew they were doing this at WrestleMania, but the build-up wasn't great. The fans didn't really care too much. And then you give it a gimmick, so that tells me that they were worried about how this match would be received. So I thought, okay, let's make it a gimmick match. Let's add another gimmick of Snoop Dogg, and then let's add another gimmick of Bubba Ray Dudley. But that's what WrestleMania is for sometimes. Look, it's not like we got every match like this. There wasn't really another match like this. Didn't mind it. It was fun. Snoop Dogg on commentary was funny, but got a bit annoying towards the end. But I'll just sit on the C. It wasn't terrible to be any below that, but without Bobby, really, not a lot happened in this match. I mean, Montez did do a really good spot where he runs from one corner of the post and then dives over it and then kind of leapfrogs it. Almost ends up in the first row and takes out the AOP. Montez is clearly a big athletic dude. Like he looks great. And then Angelo did get a good spot where it kind of hip and shoulders both the AOP, but it wasn't a close-up shot. It was a long shot of the ring in that, so it was kind of down the bottom and not in focus, so the impact wasn't as much, unfortunately. But yeah, a C I think is a really good rating for this. We head to LA Knight and AJ Styles. I think the build-up to this has been good. The storyline's good enough. It's been done before. I think Christian and Chris Jericho, their feud fucking 15 years ago was similar. Other feuds like it as well, where AJ got injured. He was embroiled in a storyline with the Bloodline. LA Knight stepped in because he's a mega star, took his spot, got even more over, and then AJ come back and LA Knight was pushing his weight around acting like a superstar. So he, took offense to that, and then they've been kind of feuding since the Royal Rumble Fatal 4-Way, like properly feuding. So it's been building for a few months. They haven't built up heaps, but they've done it enough because both guys are over. AJ is phenomenal, pun intended, phenomenal in the ring. LA is fantastic on the mic, one of the best on the mic. So it worked enough. AJ's over as a heel, and LA is obviously over as a babyface. So it worked. They're both really like physically big dudes, but they're also very athletic. So there's some good spots with AJ like picking him up for the Styles clash, but LA gets out of it, kicks him in the head. LA does his normal spot of jumping on the top rope, but instead of just a normal suplex, I think like a reverse suplex or something. So that was really cool. The crowd was into it. Every time LA did anything like punch or kick or anything like that, it was yeah. So the crowd was really into it. Every time LA Knight did this, they're going, LA Knight, yeah. And he was yelling out, yeah. So the crowd was into it because LA is still over. A lot of people were worried, like, oh, they've killed LA's momentum. And unfortunately, because I am a big LA Knight guy, he'd be in my top 5 of current wrestlers for sure. Is we have all these people coming back and all these superstars now of like Randy Orton, AJ Styles is obviously back from injury, CM Punk is back in the company. All these guys are super over. Jay, Drew, it's so hard for poor LA, but he got given a big match against AJ. AJ can carry a fucking toilet roll to a 5-star match, so LA Knight's much better than that. So I thought this match was really good. I might grade this match higher than others. I just think it was really fun. It was high octane pretty much from the start. There was no holds or anything kind of slow. There was some submissions, but you were kind of involved enough in the match that you were kind of like, oh shit. You weren't like, just a submission hold for 3-4 minutes. No, it was kind of like, oh, LA, is he going to tap? Are you going to get to rope? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Even though it was predictable, you were still into it. So, have you get this a B-. A lot of people might think I've been a bit too positive for this match, but I thought the build-up was good enough. The crowd was clearly into it because of LA, and both dudes really performed. Yeah, I think B- is one of my favourite matches of the night for sure. And then we head into the triple threat. The second to last match I'll cover is Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton for the United States Championship. Really fun. Like, I love the dynamic of Randy and KO getting along with each other and joking around because they both have a mutual hatred for Logan Paul. I mean, Logan's a great heel worker as well. He did a good job. And I knew it wasn't going to be KSI in the Prime bottle again. I'm like, they won't do that again. It's going to be someone else. I wasn't sure who it was, and then it was Speed. I thought, of course, that's pretty funny. A lot of people probably won't know who he is. Half the crowd, maybe, of the 70,000 would know. But it was funny. He took a good bump, to be honest, as well. But, yeah, I think I predicted Kevin Owens to win. But I said you could make an argument for any 3 of these guys to win, and Logan retained. In a really, really fun, good match. There was some shenanigans with the brass knuckles that has been a story that's been told for ages now. Did a really good job. KO and Randy obviously threw their friendship aside and fought each other. There were some good near falls and finishes, but not too many, which I think was a perfect balance. All 3 guys looked great. And then before the match, like KO did to Sammy before his match, Sammy was at the entranceway and said, now it's your turn, holding his IC belt. I thought, oh, KO is winning. KO is winning. But no, he didn't. Logan retained, but all three of these dudes were MVPs. I don't think anyone carried anyone. They all on each other's amazing level. It was really good. Honestly, it's a different type of match, but it's on level with the IC triple threat from last year with Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther. That was different. That was a big, meaty man, fucking stiff meat match. This was exciting, technical, big spots, athleticism, power, everything you want. A few near finishes, near falls. Yeah, I just think it was really fun. There was some shenanigans with Randy Orton and Speed. Like I said, Speed took the bump of the RKO on the announce table really well. He was acting like he was dead because he might actually be dead. Really fun, but yeah, there's not heaps to say about this match. Like I said, I don't go move by move or anything like that, but it was really fun. I was really into it. It went for nearly 20 minutes, which is incredible because it wasn't one of those matches where I thought, this would be nearing 20 minutes, so it's gone a bit long. Nah, it was perfectly timed. Just under 18 minutes. I thought it was a perfect amount of time. Good enough story was told in there. And yeah, Logan winning, I think, down the line tells some good story. Are we going to get LA versus Logan now? Everyone thought that was going to happen at WrestleMania. But is this the story? Because I think AJ and LA will probably be finished now. Maybe we might pick something up later on down the track. Because usually when you have a match like this and a feud that's been built over a few months, you don't tend to continue it too often unless it makes sense. But I think for AJ, I think AJ should go to Raw. I think it makes sense. I'd love to see AJ and Seth go at it again for a main event feud. I'd love AJ fucking thrown into the CM Punk feud when the draft happens in a few months. I reckon that'd be great with all those 4 blokes going together. Fuck yeah, that'd be sick. But yeah, now we're on to the final match I'll cover. It was the match before the main event of night 2 was the Women's WWE Championship, Bayley versus Io Sky. Everyone wanted Bayley to win. I think it was a general consensus that Bayley was going to win. I think it would have been a big mistake if Bayley didn't win. Because I think she's so over, she deserves it. She ate so many losses last year. Io's had a good run. I think she's at like 200 plus days or something as champion. So, good run. She had memorable matches and memorable moments. And this match was like really good. Like I preferred this to Rhea and Becky. I thought the storytelling was obviously much better, even though they kind of should have focused on Bayley a lot more leading up to WrestleMania. Like she was pushed aside. It was really weird. It was really crazy. I'm like, who is Bayley? Pissed off. But that didn't matter because the crowd were going bananas for Bayley, which was good. Io Sky is just so athletic. She reversed was it the rosebud face plant or something? And she goes forward and then flips off a handstand up to her feet. I'm like, oh, Io's just one of the best in the ring. Like, she's just great to watch. And I really hope that this isn't the last we see of Io in the main event scene. I think maybe Damage Control and Bayley aren't done. I think it might be like, oh, next pay-per-view, Bayley fights Dakota Kai for the title. And then it's Asuka, and then it's Kairi Sane, and then it might revert back to Io, and Io might win it back. Who knows? I'm interested to see where it goes for both these people, but A-. I'd almost give an A, but A-, just great match, great finish, the way that Bayley got the win. There wasn't too many finishes, wasn't too many near falls, false finishes, anything like that. I thought it was honestly a really, really good women's match, and any other year other than the Bloodline year, this would have main evented night 1, and it would have been rightfully so a main event because it would have finished off the night really well with Bayley celebrating getting her win. But yeah, A- for this for sure. So yeah, that brings my gradings and pretty much my review to an end. This is really, really fun. I can't say, even with like recency bias, I can't say that this is my favorite or one I would consider to be the best WrestleMania of all time, but it's definitely the best post-COVID. I don't really think it's even close. Last year was really, really good, although the outcome of night 2 kind of ruined it a bit for a lot of people, including me. This just had the perfect finish to both nights. Great matches. The worst match was Jimmy and Jay, but at the end of the day, that wasn't enough to kind of piss me off. It's not like we had Billy Gunn versus fucking Jay White on here, so no match was going to ruin the whole weekend for me. It was really fun. Both shows weren't too long. They were long enough. There wasn't a lot of filler, which I think was good. We had Triple H announce the attendance one night, I think, and then we had Stephanie McMahon come out, and then we had Snoop Dogg announce the attendance halfway through the show. So there wasn't any filler. There wasn't any pointless stuff of, Brodus Clay coming out and dancing like we've had previous years. It was just the perfect amount of everything. It was quantity and quality, in my opinion. But I would honestly love to hear your feedback. This isn't just a normal YouTube person going, hey, let me down in the comments. Because I actually read the comments. I want to know other people's opinions. I want to know if I was too negative, too positive on certain things, or you disagree with the grades that I gave each match. I love communicating with you guys. I love wrestling. I love talking wrestling. I love the wrestling community. There's a bit of negativity around, but all in all, it's a great community. But yeah, make sure to follow, subscribe, whatever you're watching / listening this to. Comment on my Facebook post or comment on YouTube, whatever you're watching or listening this on. Please let me know. Yeah, it's been really fun. Not sure what my next episode will be. As I've stated before, if you haven't heard me say this, I focus on my Goose Talks film podcast. That takes priority. I said that from the start when I was doing both podcasts. It was either going to be just doing one podcast and focusing on one, or doing two, but one takes the front seat, one takes the back seat. And for me, I think the film one's a bit easier, just the way it is and the way I enjoy going to movies and stuff. So I do that weekly. Sometimes it'll be 2 episodes a week, so I focus on that. But the wrestling one I still enjoy a lot as well. That's why I'm still doing it, or I would have just canned it. I do want to try and focus on AEW a bit more, but it has been WrestleMania season, so I've kind of have to be focused on WWE. But now it's going to be a bit more balanced. I might throw some TNA in there as well. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. Do you guys prefer just the previews and reviews, or do you prefer me to maybe talk about specific subjects or talk about history? Let me know. Like I love any form of wrestling, past, present, future. Let me know what you want to hear and stuff like that. Hopefully down the track I can start a Patreon. We can do some like watch parties together. But that's all in the pipeline. That's all in the future. I want to just gradually, organically build this up. But yeah, like I said, be sure if you're into movies, Goose Talks Film on all platforms. Make sure you follow across social media and whatever podcast you listen to. Podcast catcher, sorry. Same as Goose Talks Wrestling. But yes, that's all from me for today, for this week. Hope you enjoyed last week's preview episode and today's review episode. And yeah, as always, guys, make sure next time we get that 3 count. I'll catch you later.